Hi, do you ever wonder about the different educational styles that are available to you as a homeschooler, but you're really not sure which one would fit your family? If so, I have some good news for you because in today's show, I'm going to be walking through the differences of educational style, where I'm going to be focusing on three different ones and explaining four areas that you need to be thinking about as you're choosing the method that fits your family best and getting the confidence that you can do it yourself. I'm Dollie Freeman. I'm the host of the Charlotte Mason Way show, and today is going to be a big topic. So I would love to hear if you're watching, where you're watching from, and say hello. Feel free to interact. All right, so today to get started, I want to actually share with you guys an opportunity for you to um, just go ahead and come. I'm trying to find how to get rid of one element. There we go. And bring in another. If you want to have this easy guide that I'm going to be covering today, then you can go to the charlottemasonway.com educational/styles. I'm going to go ahead and put that link for you in the comments. But this is a download guide that will walk you through what I'm sharing today so that you have it to reference as you are making decisions about your family. So I hope that's going to help you to be able to do that. Let me come in and post that in the comments for you and make sure that you guys have that available. You don't have to have it right now if you want to zoom in to me, and that way I can help you understand exactly what it is that you need to happen. So if you're watching, please say hello. I seem like that I'm having a problem on Facebook, so it may not be surprising, but let me know where you're watching from. That way I can see if you are hearing me on Facebook or on YouTube. Thank you for that. All right, as I'm getting started, I want to make sure that you guys understand that I have 20 years experience with one style of education, and that is the Charlotte Mason. And in that process, I've also graduated from a school like most of us do, traditional, right? And I really want to help people understand that homeschooling is not school at home. It can be something completely different. And what I love about the Charlotte Mason Way is it literally leads to smoother and easier days. So let's get started by talking about this very first one. Curriculum. This is where these three different styles are so different, and I'm going to walk you through each of them. So the three styles that we're talking about today is traditional, and this is what we all know as school. And when a lot of people start homeschooling, they try to make their homeschool look like school, the traditional way of schooling. And so when I'm talking traditional, I'm not talking people just at school. I'm talking about people who are trying to implement homeschooling at home or school at home. So this is what I mean by traditional. And then something that's unschooling. Unschooling is often misinterpreted as a Charlotte Mason philosophy, a Charlotte Mason way. And the reason it's often misunderstood is because people really don't understand how to lead their children into delighting of education. So they feel like it falls into that unschooling where the children decide. And you're going to find out that that is not what Charlotte Mason's about. And of course, that third part that I'm going to be talking about, the third style, is Charlotte Mason. So curriculum is this very first aspect. So hello, Mary. Thank you for saying hello. I'm not sure why my link did not post on Facebook. I'll try again in a little bit. So curriculum. We're going to talk about the three different styles and what curriculum looks like with all three of them. So for traditional, they're textbooks, right? This is what most schools do, is textbooks. And so when people are having that traditional homeschooling, they're bringing in that textbook feel that they know, that they graduated with, that they recognize as learning. And so this is chosen by the teacher, which is often led by the guidelines of the state or the local authorities. They're the ones saying what can be taught, what curriculum should be taught with, and these types of aspects. So that's traditional. And then the second aspect is unschooling. What does that curriculum look like? Well, with unschooling, the books are usually chosen by the child and oftentimes missing that liberal education. So when an unschooling curriculum, we're really not forcing, children are not being forced or introduced, it would probably be a better word, of different curriculum when they're the ones that are deciding just based on their interest. And what I love about Charlotte Mason is that Charlotte Mason uses living resources. We're talking about living books, living DVDs, even educational conversations with those in our life. She calls those things that are outside of a living book oral literature. And I love that phrase. But they're chosen by the mother. In fact, Charlotte Mason says to take great stakes. If you cannot afford the best, get rid of something to help you to afford it. And so they have to be wholesome. And we know that this curriculum is like the most important thing to Charlotte Mason. And so it's not something that they hand off to the children. This is something that a mother takes serious. It is her duty in homeschooling. It is her responsibility. And she's to provide a liberal education. What I mean by liberal is that there's many subjects that a child is being introduced to. It's not just a few, which is what usually happens in the unschooling method, the unschooling style, is a child is only interested in a few things. And so the mother usually lets that child just stay on whatever, and they lack that liberal education. And with the curriculum being textbooks, it often lacks the draw or the interest enough for a child to really pull in that content. And so that's what you have with curriculum. I'm going to take a second, go into comments. Hello, Michelle. Glad to have you here. And then Jessica, hello. You'll be starting Charlotte Mason schooling next year. I'm so excited. Well, congratulations. You're going to love it. This should help you very much understand the 4 major parts of what educational style you should be considering as you're getting prepped for this. So I'm really excited. So that's curriculum. Let me go into the next one. You're going to want to talk, you want to know about the different styles, and that's schedule. Schedule is something that really overwhelms a mom, especially if you have more than one children. It's really hard to figure out that flow and find that rhythm for your family and that natural routine. And this is what is so different with the 3 different educational styles. So with traditional, you actually have set times for every subject, and they tend to be really long subjects, right? So it really tires the brain. It over-exaggerates a child's ability to concentrate. And they're really just to the point of moving from one thing to the next and filling their day. And most people who homeschool with traditional are spending 7 to 8 hours a day with their children at the table. And usually this is happening because this is what this is what they see in traditional schools that kids are being sent to, right? And so they're modeling their homeschooling after these traditional models because that's what they know. So it's specific times, long days, and it's really hard for the child to stay completely focused. And of course, that makes them lose their delight in learning. So with unschooling embraces the schedule by life as an education. And this is what I do love about unschooling, is that they really see life as the teacher. And so this is something that they have all day, every day, all year long. And this is something that Charlotte Mason and unschooling definitely agree upon, is that life is education. But the difference is there's no structure. Okay, so with the unschooling, it's pretty much they take the day as it comes. And if you've ever just taken the day as it comes, by the end of the day, you don't feel like you really have much done. Rather, it's academics or anything else for that matter, because you're not becoming intentional in your things. So with Charlotte Mason, you're recognizing that the atmosphere is the home, and you're understanding the discipline of a schedule, which includes habit training, and that it provides for that formal education space that's necessary. And in those disciplines, they're short lessons. They're not long lessons. They're very short, and that allow you to have that liberal education that you can fit more subjects in a shorter period of time. And then all of that is while you're tapping in to the education that life provides through ideas being fostered through the influences available to a person, rather they be their living books, their living resources like DVDs or TV shows, or the face-to-face conversations they may have in the oral literature opportunities that they have. So that's a little bit different of a schedule. And what I have found is that, and Charlotte Mason says this in her original writings, that a child should not be having formal education, which is what we're talking about, any more than 2 to 3.5 hours. So that's a huge difference of what traditional homeschooling is like and traditional schools are like, right? Where you're focused in shorter periods of time, you're having a liberal education going from one subject to the other, keeping the interest alive, and it allows the child to become delighted in what they're learning because they're not having to sit and push through mundane things to them. So that's so important for you to be understanding about how the schedule is different. So I'm moving to this page, just trying to make sure, I had the right page. All right, so the next one is knowledge. And this is what we homeschool for, right? It's what our children are learning. This is so important when you have the right curriculum with the right topics, with the right subjects, and the liberal education that Charlotte Mason speaks of. Knowledge is something that you will understand why it's everything that you're doing with your family. So for the traditional knowledge, it's given by the teacher to the student. The teacher is literally giving the education through her mouth. They also have assignments through books, but the child is actually, the teacher's in the middle of the subject and the child. So she's pretty much the teacher in the aspect of everything from knowledge has to flow through her or him in order for them to obtain it. With unschooling, it acquires the knowledge is required by the students, with the parents that are supervising the progression. Now, not normally the supervision for this particular aspect is oftentimes, basically how things are done, and so it's really hard to kind of prove unschooling if you have to follow state requirements, right? And you have to let them know exactly what you're doing. That's one of the biggest struggles with unschooling. So with Charlotte Mason, you have to become intentional about the types of knowledge. And Charlotte Mason teaches us inside her original writings what those types of knowledges are. And I help explain that in my Charlotte Mason planning framework as well, so that you understand the types of knowledge that a child should be introduced to and expected to learn. And then a child is required to assure a liberal education in many subjects. And here's the thing I love about it is the mom or the parents actually put those curriculums in front of their children, and then they get out of the way. So there's no middle person like there is with traditional. And like unschooling, the child is the one that's involved in it. But what you're going to see in the next topic that I'm talking about is that by allowing our children to get personal, Charlotte Mason calls it the relationship, the science of relationship. When you get close to something, you're going to dig for that knowledge because you want to own it. And what they dig for, they keep, right? And so they build that interest, they build their knowledge, they build the skills of what it looks like to learn, and they become self-educating. And Charlotte Mason says that self-education is the only possible education. The rest is mere veneer laid on the surface of a child's nature. And that's what I love, is that for us homeschooling moms, we should be thinking about how we can get our children to become self-educating. The more we put that as our compass in what we're doing, the easier it's going to be for our homeschooling days when you do have multiple children to be able to put them on the path of learning, not just the skills of learning, but to become self-educating where they delight in what they learn. They know how to learn, they know how to dig for the knowledge, and they can retain the knowledge as well. And that retention is where we're going to go next. So retention, this is where so many things are different in these different types of educational styles, okay? So with tradition, we all know what that means, test, right? These tests can involve multiple choice, fill in the blanks, and then some watered down questions that will just pretty much give the children the opportunity to write one incomplete sentence to answer the question, right? And so it's often a watered down system that people are testing to see what was retained in their children's homeschooling year or terms. And what the problem is that, I don't know about you, but I know I used to cram for tests and then I would forget what I studied because it was that short-term memory. It didn't really get too involved in my brain for me to remember it long-term. It was just for that passing grade. So there was a purpose in what I was doing. And once that purpose was over, that knowledge was gone. So that's the danger in a traditional homeschooling. And then with unschooling, it's often done with oral discussions, just talking about things, which again has that issue of when you have to show the state or your local authorities what it is that you've done. So you're coming into that issue of, how can I actually homeschool this way and satisfy those requirements that are on my shoulders to provide. So they also looked at the demonstration of life skills, what it is children are learning that will prepare them for adulthood. And that is really a good thing as well. I love that part about unschooling is it's really focused on those life skills that will help. And then we have Charlotte Mason. Charlotte Mason actually has narration and evaluation questions at the end of each term. And these actually will determine what a child can actually remember. And up to the age of 10, a child does oral narration. So a mom can, write down whatever questions they are. And then with our technology today, she can actually record what they're saying and maybe even do voice to text and be able to record it that way. There's so many options for those oral narrations. And then you have written narrations from ages 10 and up. But all the children have their end of term evaluations. And this is really that ability to know in place of test what is retained and be able to evaluate your children. And what I love about this method, this style of education, is that when a child does both narration and evaluation, they're learning to articulate and communicate. And that's really missing in today's society, is that a lot of people are not able to really articulate their thoughts and be able to communicate them well, whether it be verbal or written. And this is what I love about the Charlotte Mason method, is that it really does educate a child to be able to do that very quickly and be able to move them into that place to be prepared for adulthood. So I really love that. And then you have those 4 parts. I'm going to go through it again. You have your curriculum, right? You have your schedule, you have your knowledge, and then you have your retention. And if you missed it before, you're going to want to grab this free guide that will walk you through what I just shared with you. It's available over at the charlottemasonway.com/educational-styles. That will help you to be able to communicate with your spouse, talk through it, see what best fits your family, and be able to make those decisions and be able to compare it. The one thing I really hope that I've done in this is help answer that question that I get often. What's the difference between Charlotte Mason and unschooling? They sound so familiar. They sound very, very much alike. Well, the difference really boils down to the fact of how important it is for a mom or the parents to decide what this curriculum is and make sure that there's a liberal education involved. And then, of course, structuring the day to have that formal education and making sure they're the short lessons. They're the biggest things that I would say would make the difference between the unschooling and the Charlotte Mason way. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for the next couple minutes. So you can just go ahead and jot them down. I'm glad to see that some people are actually able to say hello from Facebook. I'm going to try to post this link one more time in Facebook, just in case it can be shared there. Because the first time it had an error. So I'm going to try that again, just to help you guys to be able to click on it. All right, I'm so excited. Next week on the Charlotte Mason Way Show, I am going to be sharing some real exciting information with you, and also be talking to you about a sale that I have for the literature and the arts done for you plans. So I'm going to be sharing some topics about planning, and then I'm also going to be sharing with you about this wonderful sale opportunity. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But when you're watching and you see something that really helps you in this, and you think of someone, I would really encourage you to tag or share this video with them and encourage them to learn along with you. We Charlotte Mason mamas really need to help one another as we're growing and we're learning and we're implementing for our homeschooling. So be a friend to someone and share our tag. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the Charlotte Mason Wife Show. Until then, bye for now.